We're going to take a real close up here of what the soil and weed conditions are in this field. Obviously, it is foxtail. Giant foxtail is the main weed issue. There are some velvet leaf right here. Velvet leaf. So, like I said, this ground is some soil that it does crust up, and we took a rotary hoe over it, and what happens is this is a wheel track, and it didn't even do anything to these foxtails right in the wheel track. I mean, those are nothing's happened to those. However, outside of the wheel track, there are, it is loosened up some more right next to the beans. That's pretty loose, but it didn't completely pull that foxtail out. It's just hanging on by a thread. And so what the idea is that with this Treffler harrow, it will come by here and scratch right next to the beans and hopefully either cover that one up or pull him out. You can go over here and take a look on the other side. And again, the same thing is, there was a whole wheel that went right here and a whole wheel that went right here, but we have all this soil that's undisturbed, and foxtail is growing. And so when we come with that harrow, it will, what it's doing is it's scratching and it's pulling that out, and especially right here next to the beans, it will scratch and pull those out. And hopefully this area that's 6 inches of either side, no wheel tracks have gone in that area, and it will pull these weeds out, and this hard area in the middle will get field row crop cultivated. Today is June 3rd, and we're in this soybean field that was planted on May 13th. I drug it with that coil tine drag on May 15th, 2 days after it was planted, or maybe it was 3 days after it was planted. And then we came back here just 2 days ago and rotary hoed it because we had wet weather since about the 16th of May. And so after it dried off, we came and rotary hoed it. There was a crust. This soil tends to get crust on it, and so we needed to break up that crust. And now we're using the Treffler harrow. So this is what things look like after we rotary hoed, and this is what it looks like now after the Treffler harrow has gone by. So here's the harrow coming. And it's just a beautiful machine how that works. The trash is flowing through it. One of the nice features that I really like is it has this adjustment that's hydraulic for the tines. And when we encounter an area of the field that might be a little harder, we can increase the tines there. You can see just by the hydraulic lever we're going up. Or if we come to an area of the field where maybe the beans are getting covered up, we can go and decrease the pressure just by simply touching the hydraulic lever. So here's what it looks like from the back of the tractor. And again, here's what the field looks like after rotary hoeing. So you just need to kind of watch from the tractor what the job it's doing is, and it's not hurting the beans there. So let's go and we'll put the pressure up a little bit, maybe around 7 there, and you can pick up the speed a little bit too, but it looks like it's doing a nice job. There's a few weeds there, but the main thing is we're getting them, the most of them thinned out, so that we can do a good job cultivating. All right, the area that I was in the previous video, I just passed with the Treffler harrow. I had the tension set on 8, which is pretty high because you could see that the soil was hard. And there's what it looks like in front of the harrow. It is pretty grassy, and like I said, it's not uprooted. The grass was not uprooted. And so now we're behind the harrow, and we'll take a close-up of what the harrow is doing. And we can see that these foxtails have been pulled out. They're still in a small clod of dirt, but they're not going to be able to keep growing because they're not going to have any moisture. All of these, now this one here, okay, that's in a loose clod of dirt, but it is breaking those clods up and taking this foxtail out. Now I'm sure that we can find some here that have not been loosened. Those all seem to be loosened. But this is a big difference. Get the shadow out of the way. Okay, so that foxtail might be alive for a little while, but you can imagine when we come back with the row crop cultivator in just a few days, we're almost ready to start getting these trifoliates out. Once those trifoliates are out, it's big enough to row crop cultivate, and with this ground loosened up, and these are going to be slowing down, not growing very good. Now right there, see that? Those are still intact. So the harrow, with one pass in these conditions, they're not going to get 100%. If this was a week ago, these wouldn't be rooted in as good and they might come out, but we had rain, and so you have to work around that. But for the most part, we're getting most of this. And again, well, there's a buttonweed. He's still intact, but this is where a wheel track was, and it's far from the row of beans, so the row crop cultivator will get this. But hopefully what's in the row where the row crop cultivator can't get will be cleaned out.